Listening to my infiltration and runoff experiment. So moving to the imagine part of the engineer design process, I tried to imagine different ways that I could carry out this experiment and materials that I could use. So I saw one that used paint trays instead of bottles. I also researched and watched different YouTube videos just to kind of learn more about the infiltration and runoff process. I learned that infiltration is actually the water entering the ground, and that runoff is the water flowing over the ground. And just looking at all the different ways that this impacts our planet, especially here in Lancaster County with all the farmers' fields, creating a lot of runoff in our area. And I also had to imagine how to grow grass because I've never done that before. So my plan, you can kind of see my blueprint over here. I did decide to go with the bottle experiment on D2L. So my first bottle was going to have dirt, second one, mulch, rocks, leaves, and the third one was the grass. And then you can see the materials that I used there to complete my um, experiment. To move to the create, I created 3 videos here, one with just soil in the bottle, one with soil, mulch, rocks, etc., and some with, my third one was soil and grass. So we can see this video. This is just the soil. So you can see there was a lot of runoff there because there was no vegetation or grass keeping that soil in place. So there was a lot, then the water was very dirty. This is the mulch. You can see there that there was some dirt, but it wasn't as dirty as just the soil because the mulch and the stones were still able to hold down some of that soil, creating less runoff. And my third one was the grass. And you can see here just my before and after picture of the grass that was the clearest water because of those roots from the grass were holding down that soil to create less of a runoff problem. The semi-cloudy was the mulch, and the soil, just the regular soil, was very dirty. And you can see that was just before I started my experiment picture there. A way to improve and modify when I was growing the grass, I had to adjust where the bottle sat each day just to make sure it was getting maximum amount of sunlight. I also had to move the glasses during my experiment to catch all the water. My first time I missed, so kind of went everywhere. And another thing is I planted grass seed about 7 to 8 days ago, but if I planted even earlier, I could have had longer grass, creating clearer water because there would have been more roots to hold that soil down. Something that I thought was successful was the water clarity matched my research, and it provided a lot of insight on the runoff problem and the size of the bottles. I used the NGSS standards, the science standards. I focused on K through 2, so I picked out 3 here. One, analyzing the data of comparing and contrasting kind of 2 objects there, those bottles and the strengths and the weaknesses, constructing an argument supported by evidence of how plants and animals can change the environment. So how the amount of plants that we plant in the ground and the vegetation impacts the amount of runoff. And the last one there, just how humans really do impact our local environment and making sure that we understand that and teach that to our kids. Here is our STEM practices. So you can see I went across here for the science, engineering, technology, and mathematics. So I highlighted in red there all my areas. For science, I asked a lot of questions, conducted the runoff experiment. So that was carrying out the investigation and analyzing and interpreting data. For engineering, creating an experiment and analyzing the outcome of the runoff, and you can see those 4 areas there. Technology, research of articles and YouTube videos, and that's becoming more aware of the technology and recognizing the role that technology plays. And for math, cutting openings to let enough sunlight into my experiment, and problem solving throughout the experiment as well, attending to that precision and making sense. Thanks for listening.